Okay, now with the ACT behind us, we are going to move on to punctuation. This is something that we're going to be doing for the rest of the trimester here. And we're going to focus from the start with the comma, which seems to be that piece of punctuation that nobody really knows what to do with. Do I put it here? Do I put it there? Whatever. We got 3 simple rules this week that we're going to work on: commas in a series, commas in compound sentences, and commas in coordinate adjectives. So let me just run you through each of those and then show you the exercise that you're going to do this week to prove that you understand what's going on. So you put a comma between a series, all right? The evenings were cool, calm, and cloudless. We have 3 adjectives here: cool, calm, and cloudless. And so we will place a comma there, and we will place a comma there. Yes, you need a comma before that, and it's called an Oxford comma, and we got to have it. There should also be a period here at the end of the sentence, right? So the next one says the evenings were cool and calm and cloudless. Kind of a strange sentence, but if you ever see a bunch of adjectives in a row and they have the word and between them all, you do not need commas, so no commas go in that sentence. The third sentence is again a series, but it's a series of phrases. The lights dimmed, the conductor came to the podium, and the band began to play. You can even hear from the cadence of my voice where the commas are going to go. The lights dimmed, that's one action. The conductor came to the podium, that's another action, and the band began to play. So that's commas in a series. It's probably the first comma rule you ever learned and probably the simplest. The next one, commas in compound sentences. I see mistakes on this one a lot. It's habit to say, oh, there's the word and, we're going to have to put a comma before it. I opened the door and I ran to the mail truck. Well, in this case, that would make sense because I opened the door is a full sentence on its own, and so is I ran to the mail truck. When we have 2 main clauses like that, separated by a conjunction like and or but or, we will put a comma. However, in the next sentence, I opened the door and ran to the mail truck, we can see I opened the door is still a sentence all on its own. But ran to the mail truck is missing that subject. It's missing an I, and so because this part depends on the first part of the sentence, we will not put a comma there. The last comma rule for the week is commas in coordinate adjectives. Coordinate means they go together. You coordinate your outfits. Adjectives that work together to describe the same thing are coordinating, and we put commas between them most of the time. A tall, hungry, angry bear stood on the trail. All right, I'm going to need a comma after tall. I'm going to need another one after hungry. I'm not going to put one after angry because it's right next to the word it describes. So, a tall, hungry, angry bear. Possibly I should have put the comma between tall and hungry rather than between the 2 L's. Now, there are exceptions, of course, because this is the English language. It says in sentence 2, a big old grizzly bear stood on the trail. You might be tempted to put a comma between big and old because big, old, and grizzly all describe bear, but they're not equal. If you shuffle them in any other order, it would sound weird. If you said a old big grizzly bear or a grizzly old big bear, it's not going to work. We don't want commas between those. Same thing in number 3, just to give you one more example. Huge and red both describe snapper, but it's a red snapper. You're never going to say she caught a red huge snapper. And so because you're not going to do that because these adjectives are not equal, we will not put commas between them. Now, let me show you on Schoology how you're going to do this one exercise this week. Whoops, that's not Schoology. There's Schoology. You got commas exercise 1, and this took me forever to set up, so hopefully it will make sense to you. All right, we're going to start a new attempt. I'm just going to show you how to do number 1. Now, what I did was I took the sentence, the American Revolution inspired courage in many men, women, and children. I put it up there separately so that you could read it with all these drop-down menus in there so they're not getting in your way. But then all you're going to do, I've given you 4 different places here. Are we going to put a comma or are we going to say no comma goes there? So the American Revolution inspired courage, nope, I don't need a comma right there. The American Revolution inspired courage in men, nope, I don't need a comma there either. But I do know that this is a list, men, women, and children, and so I'm going to go comma, and I'm going to go comma, and then I'm going to move on to the next one. All right, there are 20 sentences there. No matter how many you get correct, so long as it's not 0, I will go back in the grade book and change it so you get full credit. But do realize you can take this up to 20 times as you practice your commas. Okay, so that's the comma lesson for the week. Employ these rules as you are now working on your Common App essay.